It looks like there's a knot here, a knot there, and a knot there. And then you have a little bit of residual edema, and that is called induration. A lot of inflammation here, here, and here. Yo, what's going on, guys? So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working through a foot that has some inflammation around it. So as you can see right here, you can see all that inflammation around the ankle, pulling in all the way up through the tibialis area. And then we turn around over here, you can see that there is another nodule over here, which honestly, a lot of this, it looks like knots. It looks like there's a knot here, a knot there, and a knot there. But in reality, I believe that this is a form of induration, which is basically just like the body's way of compensating. So the body will typically create edema as a trauma response. And then when that edema gets out, sometimes the edema does not fully leave the body, and then you have a little bit of residual edema, and that is called induration. Now with induration, what we have is we have to just gently go around and brush out all of that tension. Now as I'm looking, I can see a little bit more over here, but that's not the focus for today. Today is just simply the ankle, and then we can focus on the global tension later. We're just trying to drain some of this fluid out of the area. Now, how are we going to manipulate fluid? Well, that's going to be through high frequency vibration, which is just basically repetitive range of motion and going over the area a lot, and very gentle. And then the next is a thixotrophic effect, which is actually heat. So right here we have this device, which is the TMJ pen, which creates heat, and that makes it a lot easier. And because it's such a small device, it's easy to go light with, and we can just work through like this. Another device that I like to use for this instance is I also like to use the Nexia, but for right now, just working in the general area is going to be just fine. But in a moment, I will go over to the Nexia and I will use that to go ahead and drain out the remaining fluid. So mostly this is just going to be just me just working for just a little bit and just observe how the induration begins to decrease and we get to see less and less knots, right? And what we're doing is, again, we are pulling the lymph and the edema to the lymph nodes, so that way the liquid can be removed from the area and processed by the body. Now we just use the hands to go around. Now I'm going through the palpation phase. I'm going through the palpation phase. What we're going to be finding is we're going to be just going through. So now that the induration is down and we have a lot less fluid stuck in here, now I can feel the tension of what is truly lying underneath all of that, and I can start to begin to palpate and feel actual tension in the body. And this is more of densification. Now this is what I consider more as a muscle knot. I'm using this as kind of a radar scanner to just, since it has so many prongs, it's able to just scan through the area. Find tension, so let's go right here. Now we proceed over to the other side, so you can see how there is a little bit of tension pulling this way, but we're going to need to drain out the fluid on this side because we've done a lot on this. So let's go ahead and proceed over to the next side. So now let's proceed over. We see a lot of inflammation here, here, and here. So now we're going to go in and apply that heat and the thixotrophic effect. And another thing you can notice, you can see that tension pulling all the way over here. You see that? Now we can see how much more smaller this side is. Oh, whoops. Now we can see how much more smaller this is right here versus this side. Now let's try to make them even. A lot of trauma to that heel. That's probably going to be a pull to the calf muscle as well. But today our focus is just this heel and the foot in general. As you can tell, they're starting to look a little bit more even, and from just a little moment. And now we're going to continue on. There we go. I'll go ahead and shift my angle just a little bit. There we go. I'm doing very, very small micro movements. Just so we can get the drain as much as possible. There we go. Oh yeah, much better. Much, much better. Still feel like there's a little bit, but I can't tell the way that it's reacting. It looks a little bit like tension more than liquid. You really see that inflammation in the knee or in the heel a lot. It's insane. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue on. Now the one thing I feel, like I said, I feel around this ankle. This I'm not so much worried about anymore. This is pretty good. As long as it feels good, but right here. Now, the next thing I would like to do is to finalize the process. I like to do another lymphatic drainage, but I like to use a different device for that. So when I do this, I like to use a device called the Nexia. So I'll use this and I will use the red light properties from it. So on the bottom, we can turn it on and it turns on this red light. It helps with the cellular restoration process. And it also has the nylon strings on top to help with the lymphatic flow. So we're just gonna boost that up by moving everything outward. First we'll start with this side so that way you guys can see what I'm actually doing. And just like that. Just a little bit of pulling out. Now we're going to go up to the next area, which is going to be the top. And back to the top. Now we'll go on and proceed back to the original spot.